Hey, so I'm here today with Sierra Ocasio. Sierra and I met, I guess during 2020, right? We were in the same class with Jenny Schiltz, and
Yeah,
Sierra is actually friends with one of Jenny's daughters, and that's how she became connected to Jenny. So welcome, and we're just happy to talk about like being on a spiritual journey together. So welcome, Sierra.
hi, thank you.
So yeah,
It,
I guess you could maybe give us a rundown or a little bit of a background from before I met you, like what got you into exploring your spirituality, where we converged. What was it the elementals class that we took together?
yeah,
Yeah.
it was our elemental class. It was our nature class that we took, and that was just me just beginning to understand it. But that class really brought a lot out of me because I feel like my childhood was based upon my connection with nature. So it brought out that inner child that
Mm-hmm.
needed to come out during that class. And I was just like, great, I get to go outside. I get to lay in the grass. It was like it was a beautiful class. And like, I would definitely want to do something like that again. So yeah, it really shifted a lot for me, I will say.
Yeah, yeah, it was a great class. I remember just like I wasn't sure if I wanted to take it at first because I was afraid of the time commitment, but then everything shut down, so it was like perfect timing to take the class. And
Right.
that was in April of 2020. So um, and yeah, we played with sticks, we made mandalas, and I
Yeah,
forget all
it
the
was
details,
just
but it was like it really was a lot of playtime, like fun, and to connect with other people that are also picking up on the similar things and feeling similar ways about nature and the elementals and psychic
and
development.
I didn't know anything about, like, I feel like, yeah, in my childhood I knew, because when school started and things like that, all of those things, like magical things, were like, it's a no. So when I became an adult and I was able to acknowledge, I was like, oh my god, yes, like the air is blowing right now, like
Mhm.
everything is energy, everything has a soul, everything has, connecting with trees. It gave it such an appreciation for nature, and it brought back that, like, I used to play outside in puddles when I was a kid. So
Mhm.
it brought back those memories of, like, you spent so much time in nature, and nature is so healing for us.
Right, right. Now,
It's
so
so
did
healing
you,
for us.
I know, like, I love going out in the rainstorm and like dancing in the rain and all of that stuff, and like having rain boots in puddles or just bare feet in puddles, like it's so much fun. So yeah, I'm a forever kid in that way. Um, but so
Exactly.
like you met one of Jenny's daughters, like you grew up with her, right? Or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, we actually really got connected. We took a nature class in middle school.
Oh, really?
So yeah, we used to be a part of the ecology group, where we used to go hiking, camping. We used to do, we used to make, like, we used to plant trees and pick up trash. So we really connected that way and we became really good friends. And then, we went through our high school phase. And then, when I started going through my spiritual journey, and I could say became, more, like, what is going on with me? She was the first person that I was like, I know you're not going to think I'm crazy. So can I tell you what's going on? And me and her would go back and forth. And she finally said, I think you need to have a session with my mom. And I was like, wait, what? Your mom's a healer? Like, I had no idea, because
Really?
me and her were just talking, catching up with each other.
Right.
We were just telling each other about our lives. I had no idea, so it's kind of great how the universe just puts you exactly where you need to be.
Hmm.
So our connection, has gotten a lot stronger since moving here to Colorado. And then, Jenny has taught me so much,
Yeah.
since then.
Hmm.
So I will say, since me and you met to now, like, my life has changed drastically because I was, like, opening my eyes up to my spirituality.
Oh, yeah.
And
I just remembered, like, didn't worry, like, so something happened where whenever we were both on camera together, like in the Zoom call, like I did feel like a connection to you and you did to me. And the other participants were fine. And, but like I do remember you stood out and then you asked Jenny if you were feeling like spirit was guiding you to me or something. And Jenny's like, I don't know,
yes,
find her on Facebook.
she was like, here's her information, go. And then, it's like we were in, like, every time I would see you, every time, and it was just like, I was like, I know her. I don't know why I know her.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
that soul connection.
But you said something about, I think when then I did Reiki 1 and 2 with you remotely, right? Like we did it, I taught you Reiki 1, I
Yes.
think, right? So
Yes.
during that, Egyptian lifetime stuff came up between me and you.
Yes.
I don't remember what the
Yes.
details were, but I remember that it resonated. We were like, oh my God, yeah, there is some history here.
It was like looking back at it, it was like we were connected like through alien lifetimes. Like
So
when I talk
wild.
about that stuff, people are like, "What are you talking about, Sierra?" I was like, "I'm not from this planet. It's fine."
Yeah, I know. It's just like, okay, this is normal in this world to talk about these things, but not normal in the regular 3D world. But
Exactly.
but so then that kind of spurred, like then you started practicing Reiki more often and stuff, and that opened you up more, I
So
imagine.
So actually, I will say that what opened my eyes to wanting to know what was going on with myself was I was in a relationship where I was experiencing things where I was like, this is supernatural. Like
Mm-hmm.
some of this stuff is unexplanatory. There was things that happened in that relationship that was very, very much like, okay, like I can't go to just anyone to talk about this type
Mm-hmm.
of thing. So I reached out to Jenny and then I started taking her courses. And then that's when I started therapy again. I started digging deep into my inner child, doing shadow work. And then that led me to, oh, you're a healer,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just like, I could not process it all, and I'm still processing it because as I'm learning more about myself, I'm understanding like how big, I didn't understand, like how large I didn't understand what was really going on with me throughout my childhood,
Right.
and what driven me to like, oh, you're an empath. No wonder when I went to massage school after I graduated high school. And I massaged my sister one day, and I had picked up her energy, and I went outside and I actually toilet papered my dad's car. So, and then my mom would be like, "You picked up on whatever rage or energy she was feeling, and you took it on as yourself." I just never understood it.
Right. You didn't know. Because why would you?
I
Yeah.
Why would I? I mean,
Yeah.
that kind of thing was like you just wouldn't understand it. But I had similar experiences like that before. But with that relationship that I was in during that time period that I reached out to Jenny, that
Mm-hmm.
was more like a aha moment for me.
Right. Right. What was it waking up in you? Like, what were there weird, like supernatural experiences, or was it just like things resonated and you felt like this was an old pattern from another time? Like, what was it that kind of spurred that?
I mean, the relationship itself was a repetitive cycle that I was starting to see, that I was
Yeah.
attracting certain people
Like a
that
toxic pattern.
I was attracting narcissists
Okay.
over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
And then the person that I was dating had a entity that was very, very scary. So in the scariest moments of my life, that's when I called out for help. That's when I
Yeah.
was like, I'm experiencing these things and it just can't explain it. I wasn't able to talk to my mom about it. I didn't want to be put in an insane asylum,
Right. Right.
So it was just really wanting more knowledge of who I was.
Right.
Because those type of things just don't happen for any reason. You're seeing these things because your soul is needing that experience.
Yeah. There's something to be learned.
There was something to be learned. And I feel like even here, like in this present moment right now, I'm constantly learning.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes learning is like, it's hard, but you're needing to see these things for that advancement so that you can understand this is how things, learn,
Mm-hmm.
understand, learn, understand.
Yeah, and grow, and then take it to the next level, and on
Take
and
it to the next level, and on and on and on.
So did you end up breaking up that relationship, or did you like clear the entity, or like what happened?
So at the time, I stayed in a relationship for a little bit longer than what I should have.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a healer clear the entity from him. And one day he came home and he turned into a 8-year-old.
Oh, wow.
So that was another eye opener for me, that I was like, is this real?
Right.
Like, am I being punked? So he came home and, after the removal, and I was realizing that he had had so much trauma with that entity for that long that he was actually trapped into that 8-year-old body when
Like
that
it's
entity
stunted.
attached to
Yeah.
him.
Mm-hmm.
It stunted his growth because it fully took on. And then I was like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, like, he had came home one day and I was healing him. Like, I already knew that I had the ability to do that, but I took on so much, and I was like, I can't do this with you anymore. Like, I love you.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate our relationship, and eventually just we separated,
Right.
which was great because it taught me so much. It was such an eye opener for me, and I'm so grateful for that experience because some people, they take their darkest moments and they say, well, I went through this, it was just a horrible experience. I was grateful for that opportunity. I was
Mm-hmm.
grateful for those darker moments because
Mm-hmm.
it brought so much to light in me,
Right. Right. And then
even though it was terrifying.
I can't even imagine. I don't even like to go there when it comes to that shit. But it's like
Right.
but it's also what it comes down to always is you declaring and you owning and being like, I'm the one in charge, so you don't have to get bossed around by like that kind of heavy, dark energy. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
really good for self-empowerment. Like I don't want to be in a position where I'm challenged to own my space in such a way to force away any kind of lower entities like that. But that's what it comes down to is just, yeah, I'm a sovereign being and fuck no, this is my space. You're gone, like leave.
Exactly. And like I just recently went through a darker phase, and I went to Jenny, and she got me all cleared up, and it was just another thing of like saying no.
Yeah.
No, this is my boundary.
Mhm.
I am a being of light. No.
Right.
And she said to me, she was like, where are you giving over your power?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so easy to do and you don't know when you're doing it. So having those supportive people, I will say that during this journey, if you don't have support,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have that love and that unconditional love and support, it can take you anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You can come into, if you are in a dark space, how can you navigate to get out of it? Where is your support system? And I feel like for me, having, amazing people around me has made this journey a lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for people to say, you're not yourself, what's going on,
Right.
So and
Like
it's
I'm an
great to
improved
have that.
version. I'm an improved version of myself.
Exactly. So I feel like, we're constantly growing and, seeing certain aspects of ourselves. For me, recently, it was like you giving over your power because you needed to heal more of your inner child.
Yeah.
You gave over your power because, your power is yours, but where are you giving it to someone else?
Mm-hmm.
Where are you allowing those boundaries to be crossed? And what
Mm-hmm.
aspects of you are giving these permissions for certain things to enter in your life? So for me, it was my inner child, my inner child.
Uh,
Well, that was loud and clear. Like, that was the message. My inner child, didn't feel as powerful as,
mhm.
as me transitioning and becoming who I am. My inner child was, she didn't understand. That
Mhm.
aspect of me did not understand. So when I was in certain situations, I was shown that aspect of me again. And it needed to be shown because, it was some quote on Facebook, and it was just like, if you are triggered
Mhm.
by something, that's something that needs to be healed. So
Yeah, you just
I'm
shared that yesterday and I reshared it.
yeah. Yeah. So this is like kind of an alignment. Like, when you're healing your triggers and when you're healing, it's uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And then being, like we talked about earlier, is like when I was in my darker phase, it was uncomfortable. It was scary. It was, me coming out of my shell. And one thing in one of Jenny's classes was like, how do you feel if someone knew you were a healer? How
Mhm.
would you feel if the world knew you were a healer? And it was hard to process. And even now I'm still processing it because the world is so, it deems spirituality and it deems healers as like, oh no, that's a bad thing. But it was more so like I educated myself and
Mhm.
I dug deep into my soul. It was like, you've done this before.
Yeah.
My soul was like, you've done this before. And, I feel like even though you take a step back, if you have that acknowledgement and you take accountability for yourself, you're able to, step into,
Yeah.
your power, even if you feel like you've taken a step back. So it's
Yeah.
healing's not easy.
Right. It's easier to suppress and ignore, but that's obviously not healthy. So that's not the way to go.
And then, that's not the way to go.
Well, it might be easier in the moment, but later it blows up. So it's like better to address and face it head on, even through the discomfort.
Exactly. And even if you need, like I said, even if you need that support, that's for someone to help you acknowledge those, to find a healer, to find someone that you can confide in, it's very important. And, I feel like we have gotten away from being a part of tribes, and that, that one healer is always the one that's helping everyone else. But to have a group of healers, it's different. Who heals the healer? Another healer.
Yeah. Yeah, we lean on each other.
you have to lean on each other. And I feel like if you're constantly in that unhealthy ego, you go into like, I don't need help. I'm a being of light. No, you need help. Everyone needs support.
Yeah.
Everyone needs support. And every aspect of you needs support and needs to feel needed, wanted, and supported and loved.
When I was first doing massage, I was always looking to barter with other massage therapists, and I was always so proactive about it. And it's constant still where I'm the one initiating, because it's like so many massage therapists, so many healers will neglect themselves and be like, it's fine. I'm like, how long has it been since you've had a massage? Oh, a year and a half. I'm like, you massage people every day and you haven't had a massage in a year and a half? Like, that's messed up. Like, I would go once a week if I could. I go like every other week sometimes. Like, I would go twice a day every day if I really could. But like, but I was always the one to like keep them on track because I wanted mine. So I'd be like, so let's schedule the next one so we can schedule mine, so we can schedule yours, But
exactly.
It's way too common that like those that, help others don't really take the time to help themselves. And that's not congruent, like it should be a high priority, practice what you preach.
Yeah, help yourself. And then, I don't want to say be selfish, but be selfish.
No, it's like being selfish is, making time for self-care isn't selfish, you have to prioritize yourself because who else will, like.
Right. And I feel like currently now in my journey is I'm focusing on my health. Because, this body that we're in, you're having to take care of it. You can constantly give, but you're having to take care of it. So I recently just started personal training. I work at the YMCA. So like, even if you're not actively taking on like, working in a spiritual shop or working as a massage therapist or a yoga practitioner, your light is needed anywhere that you go.
Right. Exactly.
But how can you spread that light if you're not in alignment with yourself? And that and being in alignment is hard. Having and keeping a connection, but it's like a reminder, like if it's okay not to be okay. And it is, take those steps to take care of yourself. Because if you don't, you'll crash.
Yeah. I know, one of my teachers has taken a hiatus and she's focusing on her health now, and she's making that be the priority. And it's really necessary and important. She's like into her 50s and she just wants to make sure that she's at her best version of herself. And like everybody else can wait for now while that is getting squared away,
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah. So you said like when you moved here, when you moved to Colorado, whatever, last year, was it, you said?
Yeah, so it will be a year this August. On the 22nd of August, it will be a year. So I've almost been here a year. Like, it's crazy. I'm like, wow, I've literally packed all my stuff from Maryland and left. Like, people thought I was crazy.
It was just like, was it like a thought that came and just was decided, or was it something that you thought about for like a few months, or was it just really that quick, like boom, boom?
I thought about it for about a year.
Okay.
I thought about it for about a year, and then COVID hit and I quit my job. I was like, I'm not tolerating this job anymore. I feel like my job has served its purpose. And I had the breakup. I was in therapy, I was focusing on myself, and I just started packing my boxes. I just started, people would come in my house and I'd be like, I'm moving to Colorado, because I was putting that intention out there.
Right.
It was, and I think, people just like disregard, like, manifesting and things like that. And they're like, that's nothing. Like, I literally spent every day setting my intentions and manifesting, to get to Colorado.
Yeah.
and it worked. Like, I seriously took that time and I focused on myself, and I packed my stuff. I told my family I had quit my job, so I had all of the money from the back pay from my job because of COVID.
Yeah.
My unemployment didn't kick in, so it was crazy. I came out here for 10 days. I came to Colorado for 10 days, and I stayed with my friend Nikki, Jenny's daughter. And thank God for them, because they opened up that space for me to, really see how Colorado was. And I came back home from Maryland, and I was like, I told my family, I was like, I already found my apartment, I'm moving. And then that's when the unemployment money hit. And I was like, yep,
that's awesome. That's amazing.
I was here, my stuff had made me here. I was here probably for a month or two before all of my stuff got here. And then when my stuff got here, all of the old energy.
All its old energy. Yeah, that's right. That's what's always so fascinating about, like, I've had to move. When we were first married, we moved every 5 years. That was the pattern. Thankfully, we stopped that pattern. But now we've been here 7 years. But like, anytime like I would unpack my books, like that's when I felt like, but like, I think the last time I unpacked my books, I felt the energy that they brought, like it's like so wild when you unpack your stuff,
like,
and how it
even
changes the energy.
Even your car keys, like everything that you imprint on has your energy.
Yeah.
So
when your stuff arrived, all your old shit came with it.
I went to a family cookout at Jenny's, and she looked at me. She was like, "You look better." What did you? She looked at me. She was like, "What did you do to yourself?" And I was like, "What? What's wrong?" I was like, "There's nothing wrong with me." She was like,
your vibration went shoom, because all your old stuff came. Yeah.
All of my old life, all that I had worked on and clearing my space when I got here. My apartment was empty, so it was full of, I came here, I had a shaman, she cleared my energy, she cleared my home, she cleared my dog, it was a huge transition for us. And all of my stuff came.
That's really amazing. Fascinating. Annoying, but fascinating.
But it was like, everything carries your energy. Jenny was like, get rid of those clothes.
Yeah.
Get rid of that stuff. She was like, don't worry about where the money's going to come from. Don't worry about where your clothes are going to come from. Get rid of it. Wow. Because it's like, when you're in those transitional phases, you don't recognize it. You're like, these clothes still fit me.
Right.
But what events happened when you were wearing those clothes? What transitioning, you're no longer this person. You stepped into this role. You detached your cords from Maryland, which, I still have love. And that's my home. Maryland will always be, a part of me. But, it was like, you have to embrace the new life that you're trying to create for yourself. So it's okay to let go of your old baggage. Yeah. You don't have to carry it with you every step of the way.
Yeah. You're not who you were. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it also showed like, it was just like little stuff. Like, I have a teddy bear in my house now. And, it brought, like, I held it, and it held a memory in it. So everything that you imprint on has that memory of you. And sometimes those memories aren't positive.
Right.
So I was like, I got rid of those clothes. I got rid of that energy. I cleared my space. Jenny helped clear me. So it was just like, and then I just went for a hike, and I really dug into this. I was like, you went through a lot and you didn't even realize it. Like, even now, digging into, my childhood again, I was like, there were some things that, that weren't okay, but you can acknowledge as an adult, so you break these patterns. So when I do have children and I do create, an empire for myself, you don't have to carry old energy with you. You have to let it go. Yeah. In order for you to embody who you need to be, you have to let it go.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's hard, because you're like, oh, this teddy bear, it has so many good memories, but is it serving you right now in this very moment?
Yeah.
Being present is like, it's hard.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's
Being
like,
present.
it reminds me of that, what do you call it? Marie Kondo, you hold the thing to your heart. Have you heard the magic of what is it called? The magic art of tidying up or something like that. But basically you hold each item to your heart to see, is this worth keeping? So from clearing, and she has a whole system where you clear out, I forget which order. It starts in like, more general, and then it gets more and more specific where it's like turns into like I guess your old journals or your old letters or something like that. Like the more painful kind of emotional heavy things are last on the list. And the first things might be like the clutter in your living room, and then your books, and then your clothes, and then whatever. But you hold up each item to your heart and kind of close your eyes to be like, is this worth holding on to? Like, so last week
Yeah.
we had friends visiting who have little kids, and I wanted to bring down some old toys from the attic from our guys, when they were little. So we brought some boxes down, but I also brought down, I'm like, we need to go through some sentimental bins, because we were so sentimental that we overkept. So we went through and like this baby blanket is totally like, I could picture like a million positive things. And then there's another one I'm like, I just kept out of obligation because of who bought it for him, or who bought it, or made it or something. So like we were able to separate out some baby blankets and some baby clothes. We had 2 bins, we went to 1 bin. So we still have a bin of stuff, but just to kind of do that, to kind of cleanse and purge, because like that stagnant energy just, I had
I didn't realize it when I was in it. I
No.
didn't realize it when I was in that space, but when I was in a new space,
you were like, what am I doing? Yeah, why do I still have this? Yeah,
I was like, this shirt I wore years ago, like
right.
It doesn't even fit me properly anymore. Like, one thing, when I first started my journey, I weighed quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I started purging and
the weight came
detoxing,
off. Yeah,
I lost 40 pounds in like that. It was
that's
because
wild.
I was energetically carrying.
Mm-hmm.
And even now, you're like, what are you carrying that isn't in alignment with who you're trying to be?
Mm-hmm.
And my weight was like, looking in the mirror is hard. Like looking in the mirror at yourself, sometimes you can't see it all. But
Mm-hmm.
like to physically carry something that is no longer serving you, where was your energy being drained? Where did I give over my energy? Where did I give over my power? And that was the relationship. I was carrying all of that anger, all of that, all of those times, and I just didn't need to hold on to it anymore.
Yeah.
So even like, we don't even realize we're holding it even in our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I really learned when I first moved here is that, I was having issues with my liver before I moved here.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to a shaman. She said, well, do you know liver holds the emotion of anger? And I was like,
shit.
Oh my God. Like, but I've always looked at myself and viewed myself as, like a positive person. But she was like,
it's like the little hidden anger that gets kind of pushed under. Yeah.
Or ancestral, where
okay. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So even like past life stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just you in this aspect. It could have been your great
aunt. Oh my God, totally.
It could have been you in a past life.
Yeah, last summer I had a crazy story, and I forget, I think it was me in a past life, but at first my friend was tuning in and she wasn't sure if it was an ancestor. Actually, now I can't remember which way it is. I talked about it in my podcast, I think, but her name was Mary, and she was like a strict nun, and she was mad about how I was doing things now. she had like opinions, and we had to like cross her over. So I can't remember now if it was a past life or if it was an aspect of me, if it was an ancestor. But it
probably was an ancestor. Like, no, you're not.
Yeah, it was totally like, she doesn't do the rosary, she doesn't pray enough, or whatever, go to church enough or something.
She's doing too much witchy stuff, right? And I feel like for me that the anger was, when you're internalizing things, that turns into illness.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that, like we talked about, self-care, self-awareness, and really honoring and respecting yourself, was understanding, some of the diseases in my ancestral line. So when I got here, I was holding on to that liver. I was like, but what about diabetes?
Mm-hmm.
Diabetes runs in my family on both sides. And that is the sweetness of life.
Yeah.
Diabetes is the sweetness of life. So I was like, we need to figure this out. Like, I'm not passing this down. So like, I really, I started going to, a natural doctor, and she was talking about all the different things, like I was in tune with the spiritual side, but I needed to see it in my blood work.
Right.
So that's one thing that, focus on your health. It could something that, like cancer that runs in your family, or like I said, for me, diabetes, like what in your ancestral line happened that it got passed down to you, that you're dealing with it so you can clear it. So for me, that anger, that lack of joy, all of those things was, it's so deeply embedded in my ancestry. I was like, this is not mine to carry. I give it back, and let's heal this in this body.
Yeah.
So, it's just little things like that. So like bringing all my old energy, all of those old energy, you don't have to carry it.
Yeah.
You don't have to carry it, even if it's aspects of your parents or their parents, or, aspects.
Right. Yeah, you're not like doing it. You're not disrespecting your family by saying the buck stops here, man. I'm not carrying this shit anymore.
Like this is like, I want healthy relationships. I want to be able to communicate properly. I want to live a life full of joy. And she said, and the shaman said to me, she was like, well, where did you feel the most joy in your life? And I was like, literally being outside in nature as a kid. I used to play in puddles, and I used to sit outside and just let the water just cleanse me. And she was like, and that's what you need to carry on forward with you.
Yeah.
Bring the aspects of joy into your life. Don't lose them. Hold on to those things.
Yeah. Move your body, have fun, like dancing and singing and moving the energy. Yeah, it's just like so important, even though, maybe like we feel a little bit weird or embarrassed or whatever. I'm less so, but I'm still a little reserved as far as dancing in front of people, but like I'll dance by myself a lot.
Yeah. And
but it's like so much gets locked up in our body. So like so much gets yes, we need to relax and step into that. But that's really cool. So is your liver doing better now then?
Oh yeah, I just got blood work done recently, and it's doing a lot better. Because I didn't realize it, but like on the outside, you can see where your body's not functioning properly, and you don't go through those signs. You're like, oh, I'm eating fine, but your body
like rings under your eyes or something. Like what type of signs?
Yeah, for me, it was like my feet weren't as moisturized.
Okay.
Yeah, now even though like the altitude here, and I'm used to the humidity in Maryland,
right?
Here it is a lot drier, but like I have a line over my nose. And I was talking to Jenny, and she was like, "That's a sign of type 1 diabetes."
Oh wow!
So your body will show you what you need, and we're just not listening to it. Just like the seasons, like we're not listening to the changes. We're just going day to day, not paying attention to these things. We're going to work, to our jobs, we're going to our clients, and we're not acknowledging these signs. But the signs are there.
I know, the more connected to the cycles you are, the more aware you can notice the patterns. And
so one thing that I started doing when I first started this journey, I was seed cycling.
What that?
Seed cycling is the moon phases and how the phases of the moon. So in each phase, I would have to eat seeds. So in like one phase of the moon, I would eat seeds, 2 different types of seeds, and then another phase of the moon, and then my menstrual cycle would come on the full moon or the new moon, based upon the cycle of the seeds. So, and that was very interesting for me. I was like, we're not even following the cycles of the sun and the moon anymore. We're just going about our day. The moon goes up, the sun comes up, and we're going about our days and not even acknowledging like the signs. They're there. Our bodies tell us what it needs. So I started like, I'm like, body, what do you need? So I would start craving foods. So it's just little things. It's little things that will shift so much in your life.
It's neat to recognize like the patterns. And I've had that, I mentioned it like another episode, but a few weeks ago I had a woman, April, on who talked about the moon cycle, and she created a book called I think the moon is my calendar is the name of it, right? So, but it's really nice because you were able to document, and that way you can recognize patterns. So it's like each month is a circle with like, 30 pie slices out of it. So you can recognize, as time goes on, oh, this is always, when the new moon hits, this is how I feel when the full, it's just because we're so removed from the natural world by being in our climate controlled environments and wearing shoes and, artificial light and all that stuff, that we're so out of touch with paying attention.
Chemicals in our food.
Yeah, there's so many
So many
reasons
things.
why we're so, removed. So the more you can kind of get grounded in that and pay attention to the patterns and the cycles, like I'm excited to see what patterns emerge, actually, because I've only been recording it for 2 months now or whatever. So there's a long way to go, but it's like so important. So I'm happy that, I guess, with like the, the increase of the divine feminine energies, like bringing us back, like you were saying before we hit record, like the cycles, the spiral, of like recognizing patterns.
Spiral.
Yeah. So that's all divine feminine,
Yeah. And for me, it's understanding, like, even if you're in the spiral, it can always go the other way. So I just feel like even though you're learning these lessons, it's okay to, acknowledge them. And if you're in a spot where you're not feeling your best, it's like, okay, this is something that I've done before. Like, I can get right back to it. I can raise my vibration again, and I can just be my best self.
Yeah.
So it's understanding that everything is a lesson. Everyone's playing their roles. You're playing a role in someone's life. They're teaching you lessons. You just have to pay attention to that. Like, for me, like everyone, like I'm working at the YMCA right now. And what the YMCA is teaching me, even though I'm not, actively, in a yoga place doing healing work, I am acknowledging with the YMCA, I'm needing to see how certain things are ran. And like how people interact with others, and how I'm learning what I need to learn if I were to take, myself elsewhere, and how things would operate. Is like people help you with accountability. People come in with their kids and how their kids operate. So, no matter where you are in your life, take it as a learning lesson. Yeah. Absorb all the knowledge that you can retain from wherever you are in your life.
And your future hopes are to ultimately like begin a healing practice, maybe in a year or two or something like that. Like once you get your, you work more on yourself and you get your experience, and is that something that you're striving for, to like open your own healing practice or work in that way?
If it was up to me, I would have a whole healing community.
Yeah.
If it was up to me, like eventually, I want to be able to have classes for people. I want to have women have support and men have support, and have a safe space to come in and, get the healing that they need to work on their work, to, dig deep into their aspects of themselves. So, it's a broad spectrum. I have a notebook full of things, but it's also staying grounded and understanding, like, manifesting the things that you want, and being present in the present moment. Like, learn what you're learning right now to get to where you need to be.
Yeah. But in the meanwhile, though, you're still like doing it. It's because it's just who you are. So you have your business pages, or and a community, like a Facebook group. So you want to share with that?
Yes. So I have my Instagram. It's Fairy Dust AW at Instagram. And I also have a Facebook page. It's called We Are Healing. And that is just a group to allow people to, come in and feel supported during their spiritual journey, allowing them, to, read posts and have positivity, so that, even something little, you would be surprised how much that will shift someone's perspective.
Yeah.
So having that information is really nice. So I do have my Facebook page. So anybody can reach me on Facebook or Instagram. I'll have to let you tag that at the bottom of the blog.
Yeah, I'll post it in the notes.
But yeah, one thing that I really like to do is I like to help people see aspects of themselves that require, to be acknowledged. Because for me, that's what I've always needed. I've always needed some, you need to acknowledge this so you can get to the next step.
Yeah, some kind of reflection, you mean? Like some,
yeah.
That's what, whenever I work with people, I'm like, I'm telling you stuff, but having me tell it to you makes it more real because it's like third party,
It's someone else. It's
Yeah.
someone else telling it. Like my friend, she posted a calendar on Facebook and she tagged me. She was like, "You need this." I was like, "Oh, I do need that," but I didn't see it for myself. So
Right.
having support and having someone to say, "You're okay, you're safe."
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things that I really like about me, is that I'm able to help people get to that point and to understand, like, you have to take care of yourself,
Yeah.
because that you come first
Yeah.
in this life. You come first, no matter what.
And you're that living example of like working on it and making it a priority. So
Absolutely, absolutely.
thank you so much for talking. It's nice talking to you. I'm like, oh wow, look how long it's been a bit. So we should probably go. But I could probably talk to you for like 45 minutes. But thank you for spending some time with me. And I hope people are inspired and interested because I love your energy and what you bring. So thank you for taking
Thank
the
you.
time.
We're
Yeah.
gonna we're gonna have to chat. We're gonna have to connect with each other soon. And I really appreciate this opportunity. I love what you're doing, and I love watching you grow in your business. So I'm so grateful for you.
Oh, thank you. All
You're
right.
welcome.
Thanks, Sierra. Bye.
Bye.